And I would walk out regulated, clear, able to go back to the boxes, to all the other tasks, and make the next 100 micro decisions without my nervous system running the show. Hello, my beautiful world. I want to point something out to you today. This is episode 6 of Choreograph Strengths, summer episodes, and this one is called The Move Was the Choreography. For most of the series, I've been talking to you about strengths in its traditional shape. The Thursday, Sunday sessions, the sets and reps and program. And this month, I actually moved across the state. New home, new place, movers running, boxes everywhere, 100 logistics, no calendar accounted for. And the easy story would be that I put the work down and pick the move up instead. And real life took over. The official strength training went on pause, and somehow I still made it through. But that's not what happened. What actually happened is this. In the middle of the busiest, most chaotic weeks of my year, I kept dancing twice a week, same as always. I didn't cancel a single session because I am moving would be an excuse. Instead, I packed boxes around my dance sessions, not the other way around. This is episode 6, the last one in the summer series, and it's the one that ties the whole thing together. Because the lesson, I think, is not about lifting boxes like they are weights. It's about what happens when the thing you love doing with your body is the one appointment you refuse to break, even when everything else in your life says you have permission to. As I learned over this summer, as I was going through these episodes with you and just really watching myself do it all. So let me back up and tell you what this move actually looked like, because I don't want to create something and just be romantic about it, right? Because there was a timeline that kept collapsing. My dishwasher broke, electricity stopped working, carpets and staircase needed fix. It just, refreshing cleans. Just the ordinary chaos of relocating. 100 micro decisions an hour. What goes first? What gets carried versus rolled? What breaks if it's not wrapped right? How many more boxes we need? What types of boxes we need? And underneath all of it, the quieter stress, the hustle stress, the kind that just doesn't show up as one dramatic moment, but just the one that just stays for 2 straight weeks of this whole move. Did I choose right? Is this the right place? What I'm leaving behind? What am I actually walking towards to? What am I actually moving towards to? And and then in the middle of that, of course, the actual drive of 8 hours to a new location. And I had 2 dance sessions a week already on the calendar every week, same as every other week of the year. And I want to be honest about the voice that showed up when I looked at that calendar during the packing week, voice that was telling me, sure, you can skip this week. Sure, no one, can blame you for everything that's happening right now in your life. But I didn't skip it. I packed boxes until it was time to go. I changed into my dancing outfit, refreshed myself, and I went to dance both weeks, all the way through the move. And I was so glad I did. Here's what I noticed somewhere around the second week. Those sessions were not the thing competing with the move for my time and energy. They were the thing making the move actually possible. I would walk in wound up, timeline anxiety, body sore from the day before, mind still very, very busy running the moving truck. Math, boxes, math. And of course, there is also family in between. Life still goes on, business still goes on, and all in between, everything else in between. And I would walk out regulated, clear, able to go back to the boxes, to all the other tasks, and make the next 100 micro decisions without my nervous system running the show. So when it came to the actual logistics of the move, the sequencing, the what goes first, the adjusting in real time, when the plan fell apart, I was able to make those calls with a steadier hand than I would have had otherwise. Not because carrying boxes was secretly dance, because it wasn't, um, but because the dancer in me was still online, still getting her twice a week appointment. And she is actually the one who knows how to find reason inside chaos instead of freezing or forcing it. By the time I got to the new place, tired, definitely, after, long 8-hour drive in the car, definitely tired, but not depleted. Standing in a house that just didn't feel like mine yet, but would. I understood something. And here's the first thing. The move itself didn't have to swallow everything else in my life just because it was big and stressful. I got to choreograph all of it. I got to decide when I want to move. I actually decided on that a few months beforehand. But the final decision was made in June though. I didn't have the dates. I was told myself that would be what I would like to do a few months beforehand. And that's what happened. So I planned on it happening. I decided what stayed. I decided what paused. I decided what was non negotiable instead of letting chaos or other things be in the way of a major life event such as this. And most of us, I believe, even don't question that default. When a big disruption in life hits, a big move, a big launch, a diagnosis, a divorce, a business pivot, we assume everything else has to go on hold until the disruption is over. The workout goes, the dance class goes, the thing that keeps you regulated goes, because it feels like the reasonable, responsible sacrifice. I want to push back on that. Choreography is not a dance studio word, it's a design word. And it means that I decided how this was going to move for me instead of letting it happen to me by default. That applies to a routine on a stage. It applies to a move across the state, a hard conversation. It applies to a launch week. It applies to a grief, you're moving through a business pivot. I believe it applies to any of it, all of it, including which parts of your existing life you protect as non-negotiable while the rest is in motion. And women I work with, they have built the business, they have built the household, the resume by the external measure. They've made it. And then something in the life demands a disruption they didn't plan for. And the first instinct is to assume everything else, the practice, the ritual, the thing that keeps them steady has to be the sacrifice, but it doesn't. We're not required to let the disruption choreograph our life for us. We get to keep choreographing it on purpose all the way through, including deciding that the twice a week appointment with ourselves stays exactly where it is. So point one, we can choreograph whatever we wish. We can choreograph the move, the pivot, the hard season, and what protects us while we are in it. We get to decide. It's a design thing. We are moving through with intention, not a thing that simply happens to us and to everything else we already built. And here's the second part I actually love the most, though. I didn't get through that move on reserves I banked months ago, on reserves that I thought I had. I got through it because I kept making deposits the entire time I needed them most. Twice a week, mid crisis, I kept doing the thing that moves my body and lights me up. And each session refilled exactly what the packing, the logistics, and the low grade stress was draining. And this is a distinction I want to leave you with. And it's the whole spine to me of choreograph success. The strength that holds up under real pressure isn't the strength you get back to once things come down. It's actually the strength you protect, especially when things don't come down, when the calendar gets full and the excuse to skip it sounds the most reasonable. Dance was never just cardio for me. It was never a box to check. It was never supposed to be the first thing to go when life got demanding. It's how I learned to listen to my body for answers instead of just instructions. So when the move came, genuinely a stressful move, genuinely full of obstacles, just little things, I didn't treat my dance sessions as optional extras. I'd get back to eventually. I treated them as the one piece of infrastructure I couldn't afford to lose precisely when everything else was unstable. And that's the invitation for you. And by the way, because of that, because I've maintained my routine, what kept me going, my energy going, everything else worked magically. Things worked out. You know, the cleaners were available, the moving company was available, neighbors were offering help with boxes, and just all these things fell into place because because it was the situation was created for that. It was choreographed that way. And that's my invitation for you. Whatever moves your body and lights you up, whether it's dance, whether it's walking, whether it's swimming, whether it's lifting, because you genuinely love how it feels, not because a program told you to. That's not the thing to cut when life gets hard. That is the thing to protect hardest when life gets hard, because it's doing more work for you in that season than in any calm season before. The reps you keep logging in for joy, especially under pressure, are the reps that show up for you later in the doorway you didn't plan for, on the day that has nothing to do with fitness at all. Choreograph what you wish, including what stays sacred. Then do it, especially through what you already love, especially when the excuse to stop sounds reasonable. Those two things together are the whole practice. And that's 6 episodes. This summer, we built a case piece by piece for what strength actually is when you stop borrowing someone else's definition of it. Strength is actually what you claim as your definition of it. We talked about regulated consistency versus motivated bursts, why showing up on the unglamorous Thursday matters more than the dramatic Sunday. We talked about progress that is not pretty, but is always data. That's the ugly middle of process, is still information and not the failure. And today we close the loop. Strength doesn't have to look like a dream to be real. It has to be choreographed, decided, protected, moved through with intention. And it lands deepest when you refuse to sacrifice the movement you love to whatever feels most urgent. And if any part of the series named something in you, if you recognized yourself in the done optimizing, ready to align moment, in the restlessness underneath things that look fine from the outside, that's exactly who Choreograph Success was built for. Business and life building, aligned wealth, holistic abundance across all life areas, including the one we lived out loud this episode, the body, as the place your answers actually come from. Come join us and find the rest of the Women of the World Network community, women choreographing their own next chapter. And details are in the show notes here. This has been Choreograph Strengths. Thank you for joining. Thank you for moving through this season with me. literally in my case. And I'll see you in the fall with a new season. In the meantime, go choreograph something you absolutely love.